So let me get this straight. Midday yesterday, RFK Jr. comes out and blows the whistle on something we all know. The financial coercion of hospitals and doctors to vaccinate people. And specifically pointed to the COVID era policies. And just a few hours later, a gunman shoots up the CDC because he got a vaccine injury from the COVID vaccine. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. And what floor was he on? It was 33, correct? Is that why we had
the cop, the officer, David Rose, father of two, was
33 years old. Okay. So 33 years old. So if I could, Dave, so the 33 thing is a Mason. It's Mason signal, right? So Patrick, can you read that for me? Because my voice.
AI overview from Google. In Freemasonry, the 33 Masons typically refers to the 33rd degree Masons, who are members of the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, a branch of Freemasonry. This degree is not a higher level of the craft itself, but rather an honorary degree bestowed upon Master Masons who have demonstrated exceptional service and dedication to the Rite.
So my question would be, why did they make his age such an important thing to talk about? And I'm going to go to this drop. Where'd it go? Hold on. I think it's this next one here. So go ahead, Patrick, read this first part, 1629.
Q drop number 1629 of June 28th, 2018. Law enforcement should interview the therapists. Each shooter has one, coincidentally. Targets, relocation within 30 days of each shooting, new name. FBI doesn't know this. Spooks are hard to find. Dream to reality. Q.
Okay, so that's embedded in drop 1630, which has the main symbol for Freemasonry. And this is how that drop ends. Go ahead, Patrick.
Why are Freemasons on the scene of most shooting locations, openly giving interviews or in background shots? Symbolism will be their downfall. Q. Oh, man. That's an oldie but a goodie, and I had forgotten about it.
And it kind of falls if you look at that. Why did they say he was 33 years old? Why did we even need to know that?
Well, all right. So, and I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, because, all right, let's break this down for a minute. What am I getting at? I'm getting at potentially, thoughts and prayers if it's real, always, but potentially, this is a false flag operation to draw attention to the COVID vaccine. Now, right. The reason I say, all right, so we all acknowledge by this point, most of the audience would, that most headline shootings in this country, most, are false flags at this point and have been for a while, especially when everyone's looking at it. There's shootings every day. All due respect to police officers get shot all the time, right? It's the spectacular ones that are used. So the question then becomes, if it's a false flag, the 33rd, a lot of people say, well, the 33, it's their number. They're using it against us. So my question to the audience would be, if they were staging a shooting because of gun control, would they give the storyline that the guy did it because of a COVID vaccine injury? Because that was their operation too.
Right.
They would never stick that in the headline.
They would hide that with everything they could. They would hide that in the same way that they would, back during the 9/11 days, they would hide the ethnicity of the shoe bomber or the ethnicity of anybody, because they have their narrative and they stick to it. It would never be he was injured by the COVID vaccine. They are owned by the companies that made the COVID vaccine. They would never admit that a COVID accident, a COVID injury ever happened.
That's why, exactly. So that's why if it's an op, which again, maybe RFK and that is just, it's a coincidence, maybe. But if it is, that's where I go that it, and so my point is, I think we should keep an eye on it, because if you start seeing over the next few days that this story sticks, this could be a way that they bring COVID and injuries and vaccine injuries into the narrative space. I'm not saying I know that's going to happen because we have no idea, but I could see it going that way.
Dave, to put more credibility on what you're saying, here's yet again another AI overview from the Googles. But on average, approximately 29 police officers shot in the line of duty each month.
Each month. Wow.
So why is it that we only hear about "I Can't Breathe," which set the country on fire? The one that you're talking about now, the guy was 33 years old. Why is it we only hear about this once every 2 or 3 months when they're trying to set some sort of emotional narrative that will piss you off, separate us, put us in some sort of corner? 29 a month. That's almost one a day.
Yep. All right. So now let's keep going. Now we had another shooting overnight in New York City. Listen to this one.
In New York City, 3 people are recovering
3.
after an overnight shooting in Times Square. Police say the gunfire broke out just after 1 a.m., sending crowds running. All 3 victims were
3.
taken to the hospital with no life-threatening injuries. A 17-year-old is in custody for questioning
17-year-old
by New York City police.
Now, where's that? Okay, that's Times Square. Okay, I don't think you even need to have ever been to New York to know that that is literally one of the most popular tourist destinations on earth. Any time of day you go there, you could be there at 4 o'clock in the morning. There are thousands of people there. No video. No video.
Wait a second. Wait a damn second. There isn't an inch of New York City that isn't being filmed at some point in time. At any point.
Full disclosure, I saw one security footage camera from this angle. It might be in. I'll take the sound out. There's one security footage camera like this that shows all you hear is pop, 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 and I think you see a few people moving. But it's odd. Like, by the way, in any other world, a shooting in the middle of Times Square is a big deal. But, I've been watching all morning, and all we're getting is 3 people, 17-year-old, have a good day. Let's go back to Atlanta.
Shootings in Times Square are not a common thing at all.
No.
Times Square, in my experience, it's a safe place with rich people.
Yeah, ever since Giuliani was mayor, they call it that they turned it into Disney World. It is. It's incredibly safe because there's cameras and cops everywhere.
But there's no footage.
Well, that would be my point. That would be my point. Okay, so let's think like a criminal for a second, and I've been there, right? You're not gonna try to do something where you're being watched, and Times Square is watched by thousands. I'm about to ask Google how many cameras are aimed at Times Square. It's a lot.
There's not just right, but but that's the point. Now let's go back to the shooting that happened at 345 Park Avenue. Now that shooting, within less than an hour, okay, it's now been 12 hours since that shooting happened in New York. Nothing. But the one in New York, but the one at 345 Park, within 43 minutes of that shooting, we had the internal security cameras from the building where the shots were, where the guy got killed in the lobby. I guess they bent over his body and pulled the tapes. And that got sent to the New York Post within 43 minutes. But in Times Square, nothing yet. Make it make sense.
My explanation is that it didn't happen and that it is a calm.
That's the way I take it.
I think that's where we were headed. I agree with you.
Yeah. So, all right. Where do I go next with this? Well, let's listen to this, and then I want to get to what Donald Trump said, because I think all this is tied together. I always remind people, look, this could change friggin' tomorrow. But like you say, Joe, you always talk about the seagrass, right? Like, my mind right now, seeing everything that's happening, all the National Guard comms, Trump talking about DC, shootings everywhere. And by the way, where are they happening? New York, Atlanta. They're happening in all the Democrat cities. We are setting up a narrative that these Democrat cities are completely out of control. But on top of that, I'm keeping an eye on what the National Guard is doing. And I happened to catch this morning. This is the governor of Iowa.
Illegal immigration, my understanding is your National Guard is prepared to basically support the feds. What's the latest on that?
Yeah, we do stand ready to support Homeland Security, Secretary Noem, as well as ICE. This will be a federal mission, so we are right now stand ready. We're waiting on the Secretary of Defense to sign off on the order. It looks like it will probably be logistics, clerical, and administrative is how we can step in and help the process. But in Iowa, we stand ready to serve in that capacity.
Governor Kim Reynolds of the great state of Iowa from the
One more.
Bro.
So that now this morning, Donald Trump, 9:40 a.m. On Monday, a press conference will be held at the White House, which will essentially stop violent crime in Washington, D.C. It has become one of the most dangerous cities anywhere in the world. It will soon be one of the safest. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT, 9:40 a.m. So I went and I asked Perplexity, I said, can you see if you can give me an outline of all the National Guard that is deployed right now? LA, California, obviously, support federal immigration and ICE. Texas, mobilize statewide, peace and order during planned protests and events connected to immigration. Virginia, Florida, Georgia, and Louisiana, approximately, guess how many? 1,700 National Guard have been authorized for deployment at immigration and ICE facilities. U.S.-Mexico border, 4,000. California wildfire response. And we played the clip Thursday, on Rambo's roundtable of the Tennessee National Guard getting ready to be deployed. Patrick.
Is it happening? That's what it looks like. It's like they're putting pieces in place ready to deploy because something big is going to happen and they won't be able to use their normal countermeasures because the National Guard is waiting for that. So just hypothesis. So you've got these National Guards being put in positions of strategic positions. The normal go-to when something just truly anti-corruption takes place is that the enemy conjures mobs of mindless, drug-addicted thugs to burn things down. And nobody's able to respond because nothing's in place. Police are told to stand down, etc. Could it be that something like that is about to happen, except this time the normal thugs in black will simply not materialize?
Well, it could be. And I have to acknowledge this little nugget that we caught, I think, at the end of your show, Rambo. On Thursday, we had the head of the FCC saying today the FCC voted to launch a top-to-bottom review of the emergency alert system and wireless emergency alert program to ensure that these programs deliver the results that Americans want and need. 4:18 p.m., banging right off a drop that says test.
I knew about this freaking tweet. I didn't know about the 4:18.
Yeah, and by the way, hat tip Kimberly Hour, who dropped that into my feed. And also there are literally Q drops that talk about both of those, both the emergency alert system and the WEA.
When is it? I mean, are we there? Because it sounds like we're there.
Well, and let me, by the way, throw this into the mix too. We went through this the other day. The Constitution glitching since July 17th, and the clause that's missing is the writ of habeas corpus. This is all the stuff This is all the stuff that's going through my head. Now, I don't mean look. Let me just finish real quick, and then I want to hear from you guys. I'm sorry, I'm on a roll.
Good.
Do I, Patrick, are we there? Yes and no. Like, I think there's going to have to be stuff that's going to escalate, but like, I'm just watching this narrative be put together. I don't necessarily think this is going to happen tomorrow or even this week, but are we continuing to move in that direction? At the same time, you have governors defying ICE and mayors defying ICE, and they're harboring the Democrats who are just before